Welcome to Recovery Recreation Television. I'm your host, Susie Lordy. I'm also the founder of a 501c3 nonprofit right here in Massachusetts called 24 Hour Power, Inc. And we do recovery art all over the state of Massachusetts. What we found pre-COVID-19 was that people were coming up to us during our events and they were saying things like, Susie, there's nothing fun going on around here. Now, we know that's not true, but we also thought about it and said, you know what? I bet a lot of people don't know how to live a healthy lifestyle now that they're engaged in sobriety, right? So we decided that we were going to go out and hunt down these stories everywhere from the tip of Massachusetts down to the tip of Cape Cod and everywhere in between. We're going to bring you stories every single month to let you know there are fun things to do here in Massachusetts and they are chemical free. So don't think you can't have fun sober. You just haven't hung out with us yet. And here with us today is Mark Mulhern. Mark is the Center Director for South Shore Peer Recovery Center. Mark, welcome.
Hi, Susie. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
We're thrilled to have you. And Jane Wasel. Jane is the volunteer and office coordinator for the center. Jane, great to see you.
Hi, Susie.
Before we get into what you guys are all about and what you do, we got to talk about the location. I mean, really? Right in the center of Scituate Harbor? How did you guys land this place?
Yep. So we jokingly call it our mansion on the waterfront, right?
True that.
I know, it really is. So initially we were in a small upstairs office in the adjacent building. But as we started to expand from more of just a community-led grassroots effort, I mean, we're true to that today, but we wanted to be more than just an office that was out of sight, right? And due to some local connections and support and good timing, we were offered the opportunity to move into a storefront property, which we jumped on, completely renovated, and opened this storefront, street side center in 2018, which is a huge deal for us because a big part of our mission is fighting the stigma, right? Is putting recovery out into the world. And, here we are right at the center of Scituate's business district, right in the busy parking lot, with a beautiful view of the water. So I can't complain too much about it.
No, and honestly, it really is an uplifting thing for the peers to be able to experience too. You guys have tons of stuff going on, but you have a couple in particular that I don't know that are available at other peer recovery centers. So Jane, let's start with you. What is 12-step yoga all about? Because it sounds wicked cool.
It's a mind, body, spirit. Kathleen Picardi is the instructor. She's a certified Y12 SR yoga instructor. So it's an hour and a half and 45 minutes is dedicated to discussion, the tools of the 12-step program, and 45 minutes is spent on yoga practice. So you have a meeting and then you work through physically, which it's such an important concept in recovery to not only address the mind, but the spirit, and yoga is very centering and peaceful and helps with stress reduction. So it's an amazing class and it's very unique.
And that's what I love about peer recovery centers like yours, in that it's not just come on in for a meeting and then hit the road. It's like you guys have a lot of activities going on. Yeah. Another one of the groups that I'm familiar with, because I see it all over Facebook and you've got some amazing posts. Mark, what's Faith Finders about?
So Faith Finders is one of our most successful groups and one of our most popular groups. So that is a group facilitated by Kristen Essen and Rob Egan, who are amazing people in recovery, who offer a lot to our center and to the recovery field in general. But it is a group based on spirituality and faith around recovery. So, it's about connecting with the higher power, creating a positive perspective through which we view the world and the experiences that we go through. They read from a ton of books. Typically, they post their readings a few days before, so that people have the ability to digest it before coming to group. But they're reading from Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, The Four Agreements. But it's an amazing group, and it's extremely popular. It's here Thursday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. And we actually just launched a new satellite version of it called Faith Finders on Main, which is in Weymouth. And if you want, so that was launched a few months ago on Monday nights from 6:30 to 8. You can check out our website to find out the exact details about that. And both of those groups, all of our groups, going forward permanently are pretty much going to be available hybrid, in person and on Zoom.
To me, it's like any way that we can get together is so huge. And I'll take hybrid all day long. Jane, what about the 12-step yoga? When is that offered? I forgot to ask.
That is on Saturday mornings from 11 to 12:30 p.m.
Okay. And is that hybrid as well? Is that going to be hybrid moving forward?
Yes.
People can do this from home and Zoom in, and they can be involved with the discussions as well and the yoga practices?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, the instructor's in front of the camera, and if you want to be on camera during the discussion, you can, or you can stay anonymous. And then she does the yoga practice, so you can do it right from your own home, or come to the center. A lot of people like to be here in person, so it's really a nice option.
First of all, I've got to thank both of you for lending so much support to 24-Hour Powers. I'm telling you, it was awesome. The blanket project that we've been working on diligently for people experiencing homelessness in Brockton. So many of your peers came together. I know that Kristen Essen was a big behind-the-scenes player of that with you, Jane, and I'm going to publicly thank both of you right now because it was a game changer. It meant a lot to so many people.
Thank you for including us. It was a chance to get the volunteers here at the center in person. We were laughing, we were joking. It made me realize how badly we miss our interactions with each other. And, as you know, volunteering has so many mental health benefits. And you definitely get back more than you give. It's a win-win. So thank you for including us.
Oh, I always say you build self-esteem by doing self-esteemable acts. Any plans for some kind of get-together fundraisers, whether it's socially distanced or anything like that in the near future we can think about?
Yeah, so fingers crossed, we're looking for some form of Recovery Rocks again this upcoming August, which is our big concert. It's an amazing night. It might not be in the forms that we've had in the past. It might be socially distanced walks or more socially distanced and live streamed concerts. But we are definitely planning, and fingers crossed, to get back to some of that stuff this year. Yeah. We also have launching in, so a big part of what we do, just to shout out on this, the theme of this show, right? But is to have fun in recovery. And so Recovery Rocks is amazing because it's, a huge social event where 50% of the people aren't even in recovery and 50% are, right? And we're having an amazing night without the use of alcohol or drugs. Same with our comedy shows. Saturday night in Scituate was a sold-out show the last time we did it, filled with laughter and good time. We have Sober Softball League launching midway through May. That's going to carry through this whole summer. And we did play last year with social distance guidelines, so no matter what, that's here and it's coming, and we're looking forward to getting outside and getting people together to have some fun in recovery.
If people want to get involved at the center and they want to volunteer, what's their best way to get in touch with you?
There are two ways. Everything is on our website. You can download the packet and fill out the application. You can call, you can stop in, 781-378-0453. We are open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Anybody's welcome to stop in. Everybody who comes through the door, they all have the same reaction. They feel very safe, and it's a very positive space to be in.
It is, and it's a chill atmosphere.
Yes.
There's no high pressure there. You really feel like you belong, and that's just, it's so important. So we're thrilled that you were able to come on the show with us today. Can't thank you enough for joining us. If for last minute comments, anything that we should be on the lookout for, or you hope to see for your center?
Yeah, so we're just looking to, we're looking to return back to our lively center that we are. We do offer some family groups as well. One's actually kicking off very soon. It's called CRAFT, Community Reinforcement and Family Training. You can check out our website for more info on that. But just a big thank you for having us. Like you said, there's so much to do in recovery, but sometimes the recovery world is in a bubble of its own, right? And until you really penetrate that bubble, you don't realize what's available and what's out there to take part in. So thank you for kind of lifting the shade and spreading the word about all the different communities and what we have going on so that we can continue to help as many people as possible and have fun while doing it.
It's huge. That's it. Yep. Don't think you can't have fun sober. You just got to hang out with the right people. And you're
Exactly.
That's right.
And you guys are the right peeps. So
yeah, we're trying. Yeah.
Thank you, Susie.
Okay. And on that note, we'll be right back. Stick around. And we're back with Mary Peckham. And Mary is the lead grief peer support specialist for Plymouth County Outreach. She's also the co-facilitator and co-founder of Matthew's Candle. She's a great friend of mine. She's a great friend to the recovery community, and we are so honored to have you here today, Mary. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I can't thank you enough for your help with the blankets that 24 Hour Power is putting together for Pastor Roberto's people experiencing homelessness, his whole congregation. They're thrilled. But what I really want to talk about before we get into your whole journey is, what was the match that lit the flame of advocacy in your belly? What happened, Mary?
Well, probably it was, after losing Matthew. Matthew was 27 years old and 4 days when he died. 4 days after his 27th birthday. He only struggled with the disease for about 18 months, from as far as we can figure, with heroin. And we seem to be able to trace the addiction back to a dental procedure that he was prescribed the Percocets for, which really wasn't needed. And, experimentation with his friends and all of that. And it was early of 2011 that I discovered my son overdosing in his room. I had no idea what was happening to him because I had no idea that he was fooling around with heroin. And luckily my next door neighbor is an emergency room nurse, and we called him over and he explained to us, what was happening with Matthew. Obviously 911 was called, and we ended up in the Brockton Hospital. Mm-hmm. And we were released probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, armed with nothing. I had nowhere to go. No idea where to go with any of this.
First of all, the shock of it all. Second of all, okay, we're dealing with the shock. Help us.
Right.
And there's no help there for you. I can't imagine a more frightening place to be, Mary. I really can't.
Back in 2011, there wasn't all of these wonderful organizations that are out there now. Mm-hmm. And we were basically on our own for quite a few months. And then Matthew got himself into a Suboxone clinic. And we thought he was doing well. Mm-hmm. And he told us that he had weaned off. And he seemed pretty good. But then we started noticing that, things were not. We had suspected that he was using again. Mm-hmm. So I was watching my granddaughter, and she was going to be starting school on Wednesday. And so I decided that that Wednesday was when I would have the house to myself. I would confront my son. Sadly, Tuesday, I found my son dead from an overdose in his room, late Tuesday afternoon. I grieved alone for a long time.
I mean, it's horrible that this had to be the reason why. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's usually how this works. Yeah. And But you are definitely a mama bear warrior for us. And as someone in long-term recovery, I gotta say, I'm just so honored that you're on our side, because we need people like you. We do. We need people that are not addicted themselves to be our voice. So how did Matthew's Candle come about?
Well, I had met quite a few women who had lost their children in this way, and they actually formed a group here in Massachusetts that's called Team Sharing. And we're parents who have lost our children in this manner, whether it be an overdose or any, suicide.
Yeah.
We accept them. And it was just, God put it on my heart. God has put all of this on my heart. This is part of my healing journey. And, I listened to it, and you got to listen to your heart. And so I got the courage to start Matthew's Candle, and we meet once a month. I have two different groups. They're both Matthew's Candle. I have one in Hanson and one in Plymouth at the Hanson Church.
Okay.
Baptist in Hanson. It's the third Tuesday of every month from 6:30 to about 8:30.
That's wonderful that you're offering that. It's so needed. I want to get to my favorite part of this, which is the memorial bears.
Okay, so I was in a grief support group online, and there was a woman in there who had offered to make all of us in that group memorial bears made out of our children's clothing. And I sew for a living, but I couldn't do this. I just wasn't ready for this. So this was about almost 2 years down the road for me. So I sent that shirt off to her, and she made it. And then about a year later, God's knocking there on my heart again. And he's like, okay, you can do this now. And this is Matthew's bear that I made.
Hi.
And then I made shirts for both of my daughters as well. And it started from there. And, with every stitch of that bear is a little stitch in my heart. And I pray for these families as I do these bears. So,
how many have you done now?
A little over 200. And I don't just do it for those that have been lost for addiction. I will do a bear for anyone.
You're making stuffed animals also for a children's book right now.
Yes, I am making a Mama Paka.
Yeah.
Sarah Cloud wrote a book about the little girl who lost her mom to addiction. So I'm just, anybody that wants, basically they'll send me a piece of their clothing. It's much smaller than the bear, and the legs and the saddle blanket on the Paka are made from their clothing. Yes.
And that door of his is, you haven't changed it, have you?
No. I painted the back of it for your artist to paint on it whenever I come, which I love doing. And this was his desktop, and he was a tagger. And his last tag name was Shine. And that just speaks volumes to me, because he's shining down on me now, and he helped me create Matthew's Candle.
We're proud to know you. Mary, we could do a whole nother show on you about what you do at Plymouth County Outreach. Yeah. How do you get there? What's the role, and how do you get in there?
They notify me of the losses. And so pre-COVID, what we would do is I would go, let's say I had a visit in Plymouth. So I would go to the Plymouth police station, and I would meet with their specially trained recovery officers.
Okay.
And we would both go in the unmarked police cruiser, and this police officer is in plain clothes, and we go to their home, and we offer grief resources to them. I give them a packet that has different reading materials. It has lists of books. It has the list of all the different grief groups that are out there, because there's many moms, especially here in Massachusetts, who have started their own grief support groups. Your friend and mine, Robin Houston Bean, she has Her Son Will Rise, and she's got groups all over the place. And, you know, if you can't make my meeting, you can go to her meeting.
Mary, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And you guys, stick around. We'll be right back. And now for our final segment of Recovery Recreation. It's a family affair. We've got Leslie Russell here. We've got Erin in Colorado. We've got Ashley in Beverly. We've got Jessica in Salem, Mass. Unbelievable. These are beautiful daughters of Leslie. And Leslie is a friend of 24-Hour Power recovery activities. Not just the one we're going to talk about today either. But first, I want to thank all of you for being involved with this huge project that 24-Hour Power has been working on so exclusively, and that is to provide warmth from the elements for people experiencing homelessness in the city of Brockton. And honestly, it really has taken a huge village to do this, all the way out to Denver, Colorado, because I certainly got in over my head on this one. When we decided how to create these blankets, we started with a base of a blanket, and then we decided to take 400 strips of material, different colored material, to write beautiful positive sayings on. And then we decided to sew them all together to make it a nice, double layered, super warm, and super personal blanket. And that's what I think makes this so unique and challenging at the same time. But you can't tell that to Leslie, because every week, like clockwork, Leslie has been the worker bee behind the scenes, giving a text, giving a call saying, "You got some more? I'll be there to meet you in the parking lot." And we do the trade-off. And it just, it's unbelievable. All the way out to you girls and all the way back. It warms my heart, and you had to come on the show. So I wanted to thank you all personally for this. Leslie, I know you've got to be hugely proud of these kids.
Oh yeah, very, very proud. They're the best. They didn't blink an eye when I asked them.
You know, you've been a Teamster for 15 years, right?
That's right, yep.
Okay. And your role there is?
Yep, I'm an EAP professional social worker. Yep, work with people in recovery, mental health issues. I run a grief group and a women's recovery group.
It literally is. This is a community. This is a recovery family we're talking about here. And we're all in recovery together. So on that note, I want to thank you again. And now we're going to go furthest to closest. Even though you're far away, you're still doing art with us. I can't believe it. This is awesome.
Well, I've heard so much about your projects, and I think maybe it was last year I heard about a mural project, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that and wanting to get involved somehow and being like, oh man, I wish knew something like that happening out here. And so when Mom called about the blankets, I was like, okay, I know I have some fleece in my closet. Let me pull it out. This I can do from a distance. So
you went a step further, and those are the kind of people that we need to help us. We need people to help us, not just people that are in recovery, people that support recovery. You're an art teacher, so what grades do you teach?
Well, I'm at a local studio, so we get everything from the pre-K all the way up to high school age, which is really, really fun to be connected to, my mom and Jess and Ash, and to have heard about your murals, and just felt great to be able to give back and connect to a community. Even if it's not necessarily my actual physical community, it's still really cool to be a part of your project.
Thank you so much for joining us. Ashley.
Yeah.
Hi.
Beverly, Mass. Let's start with, you enjoy crafting and sewing, and you're like a sewing angel, which is huge for us because, like I said, sewing's a lost art, man. There aren't many people out there sewing. They may craft, but they don't sew.
No, it's really true. I've been sewing for most of my life. I actually started on my great-grandmother's sewing machine, an old Singer, one speed, a million miles an hour. And I used to actually make and sell handbags for a little while.
Oh.
And I used to make my own prom dresses. And so I have a long history of sewing.
You also have the doggy day camp?
Yeah, so my husband and I used to run sort of a 4-wall doggy daycare. And when
How cool is this?
Yeah, and when COVID hit, the need wasn't there quite as much. So we've sort of scaled it down, and now we're doing dog walking and hikes.
Nice.
And overnight care. So we always have I think we have like 9 dogs in our house right now. So.
No! Yeah, dog people are my kind of people anyway, so
Same.
It doesn't surprise me that you would be in Leslie's family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thank you again for your sewing expertise.
Yeah, of course.
So Jessica, from a crafting and an art standpoint, did your mom rope you in first, or how did this go?
Yeah, she sort of mentioned it, and I was like, sewing in straight lines is my sewing specialty, so I'm in.
Yay!
Yeah, I don't have the same expertise that Ashley and Erin have.
You're doing a phenomenal job.
Oh, thank you. It's actually a lot of fun.
I love to see families come together for community projects.
I always want to give back, but I feel like, sometimes it's daunting even just to find a way to do it. So her just placing this in my lap was like magic.
Girls, you've been amazing. Leslie, I'm going to wrap this with you. You give me such pleasure to really know what a solid woman looks like in recovery. You call on Leslie for something. If she can help you, she will.
Where Eleanor and Ben and I are all so grateful to have you in our lives and in Dad's life, keeping him on the straight and narrow, because God knows where he'd be without you. And we're all so lucky to have you.
Yep. As soon as you said, like, Leslie's just there for you, like, you can't ask for a better mom who just is always there and always doing amazing projects, and couldn't ask for a better role model. Yep. Love ya.
Leslie's been there for so many different things for me. And she's just, like you said, a solid woman, an amazing role model. She's just such a wonderful person to have in our lives, and we're so lucky that she's in it. We really are.
So I'm blessed. You guys are amazing, and I don't always tell you that. So
yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
I want to collectively thank all of you for being those behind-the-scenes worker bees that made this all happen. Believe me, it's you've made a huge difference in a lot of people's lives. So on behalf of 24 Hour Power and Recovery Recreation TV, many thanks. And
thank you, Susie.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
This is a wrap. Don't think you can't have fun sober. You just haven't hung out with us yet. Peace out.